Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So before we embark onto the most amazing and wonderful topic of Lord Nityananda, let us recap our Bhagavad Gita because that's our basis. So does anybody remember what is the, in nutshell, Bhagavad Gita? We have been talking about like what is the first chapter, what is second chapter, 3 to 5 chapters and all those things. We'll repeat that until all of us memorize it. Okay, because we are coming for Bhagavad Gita program, and if you do not understand and learn that what this Bhagavad Gita is all about, then I think we are defeating the purpose of studying Bhagavad Gita. So what is the first chapter? What happens in the first chapter? What does Arjuna do? Challenges the definition of success, right? So he redefines the definition of success, right? What is the second chapter? Identity, right? So discovering identity, right? That is the second chapter. What is the chapter number 3 to 5? What does it talk about? Karma, right? So basically repositioning our lifestyle. How do we act? What is chapter number 6? Now we have repositioned your lifestyle, right? Everything is there, but there is one thing that bothers you so much. What is that? Your mind, right? So chapter 6, which we are going to discuss probably from next time or next to next time onwards, right? About remolding your mind. What is chapter number 7 to 9? It's a sandwich, remember that? First 6 chapter, last 6 chapter. What is first 6 chapter? Karma Yoga. What are last 6 chapters? Jnana Yoga. Middle 6 chapters? Bhakti Yoga. Right? So Bhakti is about what? Reawakening your love for the Lord. Right? So that is what is chapter number 7 to 9. Right? Chapter number 10 to 12. It will talk about the re-encountering the divinity. You will learn more about the divinity because now you have developed the love. You will know more and more about it. That's how you will go deeper in your love. Right? And then chapter number 13 to 17 is rechannelizing your energy. Now that you have understood everything, how do you spend your energy? How do you channelize your energy? That is most important. Right? And what is chapter number 18? Purpose. Right? So remembering your purpose. So that is the Bhagavad Gita in essence. What are the 5 topics that Bhagavad Gita talks about? First, Atma, exactly. Second, Atma is living where right now? In Prakriti. That is how you remember. If you remember, try to remember 5 different things, you will never remember. You have to make the connections. Otherwise, you will not be able to remember. So first is about ourselves. We have to be selfish. Right? We need salvation. We need to save ourselves. Right? So Bhagavad Gita talks about yourself only. Who are you? That is about Atma. Right? Now Atma is living where? Right now it is in the material world, Prakriti, right? Living in the Prakriti, living in this material, what do? We perform actions. So actions is nothing but the karma, right? Now you perform the actions, what is one thing which is passing by and it has an impact also on the karma is time, right? बोलते हैं ना आज समय मेरा बराबर चल रहा है नहीं चल रहा है, right? Like that we talk about it. So that is what it is, it's a time. But if you do all these things, Atma, Prakriti, karma, time, but if you forget the most important thing, then what will happen? You will defeat the purpose. And what is the most important aspect that Bhagavad Gita talks about is Ishvara. If you do all these things and if you forget Ishvara, गई भैंस पानी में, हाँ कुछ मतलब नहीं है, right? So the most important thing is to connect ourselves with Ishvara. That is what the yoga is all about. The definition of yoga is coming from the root word yuj. Yuj means to connect. Connect with whom? Connect with the Supreme, Ishvara, right? So that is what Bhagavad Gita in essence. Now what did we discuss last time? I was not there, but I heard the class. It was very wonderful class. And I must appreciate and thank Vedmurti Prabhu for really committing himself despite his... He came and delivered a fantastic class. And that is what we'll talk about today, Nityananda Prabhu's mercy also. So does anybody remember what did we discuss or what did he talk about last time? If you don't remember, then I'll be very, very unhappy. I'm sorry to say. Because this person studied so hard, despite such a severe head injury, he came to share his knowledge with all of you. And if you don't remember, that means it's really, really something is wrong with us. You have to take Krishna consciousness very, very seriously. Even though we'll be talking about the pastime today, but we are not here to do the time pass. Right? We are here to learn something which is very, very valuable in our life. Very, very valuable in our life. Do we forget where we have to go to office? We don't, right? Because that's where the money comes from. Right? Do we forget some of the amazing scenes of Durandar? We don't. Right? Even today there are so many people talk the amazing dialogues of Sholay. Kitne aadmi the. Right? Why do we remember all these things? Because we have amazing interest in it. So you have to develop that interest. If you don't develop the interest and if you don't see, it's really amazing. My spiritual master said amazing thing about how one should hear. I am not there at all, but I really want to be at that level, how one should hear the spiritual aspects. As we are a lot of thing happening with the plane crash, right? Few months ago the Air India plane crash happened, and now one of the politician plane crash happening in Baramati. So he said amazing thing, how one has to hear. Now this analogy, if you get it and if you implement it in your life will be perfect. Now let's say what happens when the plane crash happens, because they lose the connection with the ATS, what do you call it, the tower, right? ATC. What is full form of ATC? Air traffic control, right? So you lose a connection with the air traffic control, right, generally. But let's say somehow or other you have a connection with the air traffic control. Now what is happening is your engine failure is happening in your flight. Okay. Now the pilot doesn't know how to go about it, because everything is becoming blank now on the screen. Because generally if you see, the flight is operating based on the screens, right? Whatever you have, you just do the controls. Now everything is blank out. Now you have a connection with the ATC and you tell ATC that my screen is gone. I do not know how to maneuver the flight now. And I am about to land. If I don't have this control back, I am sure my flight is going to crash. So what does the ATC say? The air traffic control says, now hear very, very attentively what I am going to say. If you make a single mistake, then you are dead along with 200 passengers in the train, in the flight. Right? Now the person from the ATC is going to dictate which button to press, which lever to pull, which lever to let it go, and all these things this ATC is going to tell. And it's a in next 5 minutes it's a do or die. Now at that point in time, can the pilot say, can you repeat? Because the time is the essence. Because your flight is not in the air, break nahi mara hai aapne. It is moving. So how attentive that person is when ATCing everything that is being called out from that ATC, he is absolutely attentive and making exactly the moves what is being asked. Right? So similarly the spiritual aspects, when you hear with that rapt attention, I am guaranteeing you will remember for the rest of your life. I know it's not easy, but one has to aspire for that. अगर कुछ गोल ही नहीं है, गोल है तो गोल तो बड़ा होना चाहिए ना. नहीं तो what is the use, right? So remember this analogy of you are the pilot, your plane is about to crash, and you have the lifeline from ATC who is going to guide your life how to be safe, right? So similarly we should hear. So now anybody wants to give a stress on their brain?
So he started the lecture with the topic of the class, that kite flying, fly your kite high. He started then how we should be in controlling position, where you want to have the kite flying higher and higher. We should have a control on the tree, when to loose and when to pull back. So that and he connected. So because of the desire, we get the anger if desire doesn't fulfill. So he specifically mentioned the connection between the desires and how one can be happy in this world. In two connection, Krishna explains that this is the 2 point before you leave this body, you should have the control on these 2 points, that desire, and because of desire there is a anger generated because of non-fulfillment of desire. And he gives so many practical examples, and he basically makes out the point that how, if you are doing this, then in the next verse how Krishna is explaining then how you can, even in this material world, how we can experience the happiness. So that's how we begin and give many examples, many analogies.
Very nice, very nice. Very good. Anyone else remembers anything else? Any examples that he shared? Yes. Very nice, very nice. Did he talk about anything like welfare activity? There was a joke somebody cracked, right? If you want to do a welfare activity, what do you need to do? First you need to do well.
Food for life.
Food for life. So that is the example he gave. But like, first person has to do the well to do something for welfare to the others, right? So very nicely explained. So wonderful. And also he gave the cause of the anger and everything else. Which verse he quoted? Dhayato Visham Pumsam. Very nice. He quoted Dhayato Visham Pumsam. That if you contemplate on the objects of the senses, and if those senses or these objects, if you don't get it, it becomes unfulfilled, then the anger arises. Right? And he gave the channelizing of the anger. What did he give the example? Hanumanji. Very good. Give the example of Hanumanji. Right? He also became angry when Ravana mistreated him. Right? What did he do? He actually did the service of Lord Ram only by burning the Lanka. Right? So that is how one should be. Right? And then Madhav Prem Prabhu asked the question towards the end. What was the question?
How you can, if we are talking about the welfare activity, then exactly practically we can do that.
Welfare activity, we do it at the level of body, mind and soul. At the 3 levels we do the activities. But if your happiness is at the level of soul, then you get the real satisfaction. So he asked, how do we do the welfare activity at the level of soul, right? And that is where Prabhuji explained that how food for life, even though it is food, but it is a spiritual food because it is offered to the Lord. So it actually touches the soul, right? He gave the example of Bhaktivedanta Hospital also, right? So we see how this devotees, that's what I said, I happen to sit here. But what Lalit Madhav Prabhu said is so amazing, and recently we had an amazing drama festival. Next time we are hoping that we get a bigger place and maybe 2 shows that we can do. So we'll invite all of you as well to come and watch the wonderful drama. And we are hoping when it will be coming on the YouTube, Prabhu, very soon. So once that drama will come, we'll share the link with all of you. You can watch the drama as well. It's the I'll not steal the thunder, but it's amazing. What was that? SRM, right? What is it? SKRM.
SKAR.
Can you say that?
SKAR.
उसका full name क्या है?
सबके अपने राम.
सबके अपने राम, right? So it is very, very beautifully done, and you see how devotees get so absorbed into practicing this drama and delivering this drama for the pleasure of Guru and all the Vaishnavas. So wonderful, right? Now today happened to be the most auspicious day of Nityananda Trayodashi. Now all of you must be wondering, who is that Nityananda? Is it that Nityananda Baba, or is it some other Nityananda? And who is this Nityananda? So I am sure all of you are very new to that. We were also once upon a time. And today you will also learn about how this particular